past few years, I've become closer with my black side of the family who's Creole, and they really are very strong on the traditions and the pride. And Creole in itself is a mixture of races, and that is what really half of me is.
My dad actually remarried, and my mom's getting remarried, so my parents, they come together for me, and that's one thing that I just think that's so amazing.
To have my sister who is fully African American, and then my mom who's fully white, for them both to accept me and love exactly who I am. For anybody else to say anything about me didn't really bother me.
I've had a great family support system around me, and my mom and dad are able to get along. Thank God for that, because if they weren't, then it would just make things a lot more difficult.
My father's family is very, very different from my mother's family, and to be able to hang out with them both, have that opportunity to kind of live in two different worlds and still be exactly who you are and have people accept you is really, really, it's amazing.
I just think it's a good thing, It's a really good thing when two people from different backgrounds come together. I think it only helps the process of racism.
We have never been just a collection of individuals or a collection of red states and blue states. We are and always will be the United States of America.
I think it's really inspiring to have people of mixed backgrounds in such prominent positions.
Mixed-race celebrities like pro golfer Tiger Woods and singer Alicia Keys highlight the demographic in the United States, but notable people can also be found across the Atlantic.
Oh, but hold on. Am I all right? I'm not going to get carted off as a slave, am I?
Why would they do that?
Not exactly white, in case you haven't noticed.
I'm not even human. Just walk about like you own the place. It works for me. Besides, you'd be surprised. Elizabethan England, not so different from your time.
For multiracial ethnicities, I think it does help recognize that they are there.
Now that people like Barack and Alicia Keys and Tiger Woods, they bring it up as a national thing. So it's just brought to everyone's attention, where maybe only the Twin Cities would recognize this.
Tiger Woods, I thought he really had some guts to say what he said, because a lot of people won't.
Tiger Woods surprised many people in 1997 when he called himself Cablinasian. Cablinasian was a self-made portmanteau referring to his Caucasian, Black, Native American, and Asian heritages.
People of color know when other people of color are mixed with something. That's really funny when the Times came out with Tiger Woods is not only black, that thing. I said, yeah, I knew that a long time ago.
And I think that's great, good for you. You're not putting yourself into a category. You're, letting the world know, I am different, and you need to accept me for who I am.
I think we would have to become more open-minded, definitely, because there are so many people that identify themselves as more than one race. And, you can't help but, be more open-minded about it, or else you're going to exclude, a huge population.
So many people don't understand, what it's like, or, the stereotypes. So, having a potential president speaking about it is great. It's wonderful.
He got a lot of criticism for that, but why? Why? I don't understand why that is necessary. Just let him be who he is. It's not your decision to tell, it's not anybody's decision but his own. And he took it into his own hands, and he made that decision for himself, which a lot of people don't do, which I definitely applaud him for.
What I hope is that people do recognize that, because I see a lot of people saying, first black president, but he's, and that's what they keep promoting. We want the first black president. I'm voting for him because he's black. But no, really, he has other things a part of him.
Within communities of color, people of color are always judging people oh, they're not black enough. You're not 100%. And they're very quick to pull that out, and judge you.
There's a lot of mixed race. Just celebrities and well-known people, but they don't really talk about it because they just let themselves fall into one category or another, but they don't stand up and be like, I'm mixed, take me as I am.
Just the way I look at the world, famous people don't make as big of a difference as we'd all like to think, or some people would like to think. It's more about the people in your lives that make such a difference on how people view multiracial children or anybody.
Without notable names like CNN's Soledad O'Brien or U.S. Olympic gold medalist Brian Clay, some say tensions about mixed race would continue preventing a dialogue.
I imagine maybe a lot more polarized, probably, because there are people who would be, identifying only as black and only as white.
It wouldn't maybe be brought about now, because there's still a lot of states that don't really have mixed races.
There would be less, is Barack Obama black enough or white enough, because he'd just be one or the other.
It's good to have examples of famous people, for kids who feel lost, but I think it's more important that each individual person, puts their best foot forward.
It is a good thing as long as it's completely understood in the right way.
It's really, it's comforting, It's like, okay, I can speak out about this issue and people will learn something from it.
Just under 19 a ball game. 7-3 early, Illinois. Inside, that shot rolls down and in.
I would have to say basketball was probably a place where I fit in more because I played with all black girls.
Ashley Ellis Milan is one of 3 multiracial players on the University of Minnesota women's basketball team. The other 2 are freshman Kiara Buford and junior captain Brittany McCoy. All 3 rarely discuss their common bond because they're comfortable with themselves.
None of that comes up. I feel like we just look at each other as people and not as a color. I think that's just what it is, and that's how we were brought up. Especially for us 3 because it's like we're mixed, and so it's not like we can be one-sided for this and one-sided for another thing.
Natalie Moses's international experience includes studying abroad in the Dominican Republic. In all of her travels, Moses says others made no big deal about her race.
That is so insignificant in their culture, just like being put into just race in general is just like, so nobody cares, just whatever, you're a person.
Moses says she didn't face racial tensions abroad because of one thing.
They see you as a person who is like a female who is 20 years old, not a black female that is 20 years old, or not an Asian female that is 20 years old. You are a human being. I feel like most parts of the world they just don't, they don't put an emphasis on it. It's not as important, and because it's not as important, there's not as many stereotypes and just preconceived notions about what it means to be this or what it means to be that.
St. Thomas student Danielle Matthias discovered how some people emphasize race when she got an unwelcome message sent to her dorm in the fall of 2007.
We just got some notes shoved underneath our door, posted on our, shoved under the door, posted on the door, and basically just threatening us because we were not white. Just shocked, I didn't even know how to, I was just shocked. I woke up my roommates and I was just shocked. You hear about this kind of stuff, but you're no, someone would not go out of their way to just hurt my feelings.
News of the hate crime spread quickly and was reported in every major Twin Cities news outlet.
I felt like a lot of our everything was swayed. We all had, there's 3 different people, 3 completely different people. We all had 3 completely different emotions. We all reacted to it differently. We all wanted different things to come out of it. We all kind of had different emotions on it. So it was just hard for all of us to kind of be grouped together.
St. Thomas was quick to respond too.
St. Thomas organized a campaign to defeat hate crimes and hatred on campus called Campaign Orange. Didn't really go too far, kind of lasted a week or so, and then we put on a rally and a march just so we could all march in solidarity. I know a lot of students at St. Thomas were really angry because last year at St. Thomas there was some racial slurs written on a poster, and there was some other racial slurs in a boys' dorm, and nothing really came out of it.
In the aftermath, Matthias faced an identity crisis that was lost in the conventions of typical racism.
The real St. Thomas.
it was like really, it was really hurtful for me to like hear like some of like my peers, like some of the minorities on campus at St. Thomas, and even my roommates, like white people, blah 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 blah, and they just don't understand.